So we
All right. We good. All right. All right. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good, sir. How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm hanging in there. But let me know if you can hear me now. Can you hear me now?
I could hear you before.
I just wanted to make sure this mic is performing at its optimal.
Yeah.
You understand? Let me just make sure. You know how this
Okay.
things go.
Yep. Sure enough.
Whatever. Anyway, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Unscripted. I'm your host, Charles Dixon, and I am live with Mr. Adam Ford. I just made it down to the shelter in time to get him to check him out before they let him back in for the cop heads. But anyway, he's going to come here tonight.
It's going to be one of them kind of shows. It's going to be one of them kind of shows. I see.
He's here on tonight to lend his wisdom and expertise, and of course his God knowledge to the competition. Conversation rather. But anyway, Mr. Ford, that went over your head. Today, we are going to speak about self-sabotage, the human condition. Self-sabotage. So, when it comes to self-sabotage, I believe so many of us in life, we start off with good intentions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And depending on what all we're ready for, or what all we are willing to be 100% honest about, that determines sometimes whether we continue the race or we decide to do what some people do when they don't want to complete the mission. They abort, and they do all of the things necessary to force the abort.
Okay.
And so I figure we can touch on that today, because I believe this is something that is, it's going on. It's been going on, and it's still going on. And I think, I'm not sure if we have a way of necessarily handling it. I guess if we're going to have a chance at it, we got to be 100% honest with ourselves first as to what we indeed intend to sign up for in some of these ventures of love that we get in, Yeah. But go ahead. Yeah. Give me your take on some self-sabotaging.
You mean okay? So you're talking about in terms of relationships and how we sometimes we self-destruct our own relationships because of whatever reasons that we might have. Say, for example, we believe that we don't deserve to be in a relationship. Sometimes we believe that we don't want to be with the person that we're with, so we figure out a way to sabotage it. We figure out a way to blow it up, by creating some fictitious problem that really doesn't exist in the first place. And I think a lot of us have fear of, greater than the fear of failure is sometimes the fear of success, because of the fact that we don't know how to handle the success in a responsible way. And as a result, we self-sabotage so that it does not become successful at all.
Wow. And I believe that's something where most of us, that part is so facts, because sometimes we could speak something out of our mouth that we want. And when that thing materializes, we are afraid to walk that plank. And so as a result, we double back, we rethink it, and the next thing you know, we break it down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, yeah, that's true. And then, like I said, we just, for whatever reasons, whatever psychological pathos that we have operating within our mental faculties prohibits us from receiving what we really should have received. Because, like I said, for whatever reasons, either we don't feel worthy, we don't feel ready,
right?
Or we just don't want to do it. We sabotage relationships, and sometimes we do it. Sometimes we do it consciously. We know exactly what we're doing. We know how we're doing it. We know why we're doing it. But then there are. I think the more dangerous part of it is sometimes we do it subconsciously, which means we don't necessarily know the reason why we're doing what we're doing. you know, because it's something that's underneath the surface, something that we have not, I guess to some extent, we haven't been ready to face. We haven't been ready to confront ourselves in terms of who we really are. And again, I think sometimes on a subconscious level, because of the fact that we don't know ourselves, what lies beneath the surface of who we really are, because we've never taken the time out to explore who we really are as people.
Yeah. And, you know, another thing that we do, you and I was talking about this before this, but a sure sign of an evident act of self-sabotage is when you begin to get in relationships and or date from a perspective of moving in a space of low vibrations, meaning you kind of walking in the negative energy. You're not necessarily on your highs. You're not on your A game at all. You just kind of, maybe you got out of a relationship. Maybe you still trying to get it together. You're trying to, you're trying your best to bring on the good face, but it's just not happening. But what happens in spite of that is we still want to date. We still want the love feeling. So we continue even in a weakened state. And if you're in a weakened state, a lot of times you're not you're not making the best decisions. You're making decisions more so out of need than you are out of just practicality or just being logical. You're kind of moving about with the whims of the emotion of the relationship, depending on how things are flowing. I'm gonna take mine off too. Let's just go ahead.
Yeah, because they weren't working for me. Sorry, they weren't working for me.
So here's the thing. So when you have that becomes problematic, and so for most of us, we have to. Oh, you know what I got? Can you hear me good?
I can hear you fine.
Oh, I know.
I can hear you better.
Just hold on.
I can hear you good.
Hold on. Go ahead.
No, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay.
Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. All right. Okay. So it gets to a point where we just have to say to ourselves, listen, I'm not, you gotta be, it's okay to be honest with yourself. I've had to learn this. You know, sometimes we do things because we want to show up and we are expected to show up. Right. And if you're not careful, people, it's just like, let's just talk about everybody watching this whole thing with Michael Jordan, right? And this whole series he got on and everything. But all I could think about throughout watching the whole thing was the amount of pressure he had to be under.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of pressure when someone perceives you to be great and they expect you to show up as great. And although you may have glimpses of great, or maybe you can pull through for this, that, and the other, sometimes it's just not there. And sometimes you fall in a place like I've seen him do on the show, where he wanted to call it quits. He don't feel like he has it. You know, he don't have what's needed to bring it forward. Right. And so sometimes he just wanted to bow out. And so it's the same thing sometimes in relationships. Sometimes when a man or a woman, when you have that type of pressure, when you're trying to love, date, support, all those things that are typical expectations in a healthy relationship, sometimes you yourself are not healthy. You just are not. And I've learned that although it's unpopular and people don't like it and people get mad and they get upset, but look, when you're broken or when you're not functioning like you know you should or could, you need to say, hey, wait a minute, I need to pull over into the rest stop.
Right. I
can't keep driving or the engine gonna blow. And if the engine blows, we're not gonna have nothing. The whole thing's gonna break down anyway. Yeah. But we tend to just want to keep pushing because it's expected for us to push.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you bring up the word expected or expectation, because I think a lot of us grapple with expectation. We grapple with expectations on two fronts. We grapple with expectation from within ourselves in terms of our own personal expectations as to how far we think we should be at a certain point in time. But we also grapple with other people's expectations of us. Right. And as a result of dealing with those two dualities, if you will, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. It's a struggle because here's the thing. Some people, they expect you to be a certain way, but their expectation to some degree can become restrictive in regulating how they believe that you should behave, or how they believe you should do this, that, and the other, or how they believe how, what you should be doing with your life.
Right.
That's problematic. Because I don't want to live under anybody's regime of expectation. I don't.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we all do to some degree in this life. We all have people who expect certain things of us.
Yeah.
But by and large, a lot of times, again, those expectations can become prisons within relationships, because people are holding you down, or almost like arresting you and coercing you to do something you may or may not be willing to do. And that's a problem. Here's the other side of it. Again, not only do we have to deal with the expectations that are coming externally or from other people, but we also have to deal with our own expectations that come internally. I'll use this as an example. Some of my, some women haven't had within this society, by and large, are so expected to be married at a certain age, expected to have a career that's successful, also expected to be a homemaker, also expected to have children at a certain age. These are some of the expectations that have been laid upon them. But again, if we're not careful, these expectations can be prisons, and they lock us down, and they don't allow us to be who we really are, nor do they really allow us to achieve and accomplish what we really want to accomplish. You know what I'm saying? Because we're beholden to what other people are saying, and based off what they're saying, we form our own expectations.
Wow. You know what I discovered about myself? Maybe I shouldn't go down this road. Anyway.
Go down the road. Go down the road.
What I discovered about myself was, I think, I often use, sometimes when I'm on the other shows, I use the analogies of how sometimes us men, I'm only speaking as a man, I know I'm not saying the women, but as a man, we feel as though we have to come out and we have to spend most of our life in our superhero uniform.
Right.
And I think for me, if I had to think back over my life and how maybe some things begin to take some bad turns or negative turns, or things where it didn't yield the best results for me in the relationships, is I think for me, I spent too much time as Superman and not enough time as Clark Kent.
Wow.
And as a result of that is when I had to do some deep thinking. When I was sitting back in all of this quarantine stuff, I do a lot of thinking, right? Outside of thinking. And so I said, how did this pattern of life even begin? And I said to myself, when I thought back, I'm thinking of how I was raised. I had both parents in the house. I didn't have any missing issues there. Okay. I was raised in church, so I had a kind of a healthy palette of spirituality there. So, I didn't have any like childhood abuses and things like that can kind of scar you when you get older. And so it's some of the paths and the choices I made didn't really jive with the way I was raised. You understand? And so for me, I said to myself, I was like, I was sitting over there the other day and I was looking at someone on TV, and I blacked out from the TV, and I said, it just came to me and said, you spent too much time as Superman and not enough time as Clark Kent. And I'll tell you, when my habitual, let's just say my habitual pattern of infidelity started because Superman was really rendered powerless. He was weak.
Wow.
And he was weak. And so check this out. One woman wasn't enough to keep his cape up.
Wow.
I had to emulate that I was still flying.
Wow.
So I used one for the end, one for the middle, in the center, one on the head, one on that end. And that's how I survived simulating like at NASA. I was simulating flying.
Mm-hmm.
I used to fly willingly, and I was fine in normalcy. But after a while, I began to have to fly like this because when those times when I knew that I was operating way below half mast, or I needed to pull over to get some gas, I didn't.
Yeah.
So as a result, I wanted to keep performing, and I was like, I got to perform, and I got to figure this out. Wait a minute, how can I keep this cape up? And so I was doing these things, and I said, how did I lose touch with that? It was like something on the line. I got too used to being in flight simulation school when I should have been flying.
Wow.
So for me, I had to kind of come to grips with that and say, you know what? You got to just come out of the place where you at and lock that door up in a simulation place and just begin to, if anything, strengthen yourself to be able to fly. Like you need to strengthen yourself, run and try to get off the cliff, even if you fall a couple times. Eventually those wings will catch. But for years, that was the way my logic was. And it followed me even into this being an older person today. Like even imperfect yet today, I still think sometimes I'm flying, but if you were to put the green screen down, you'll see me like this.
Right.
Also see these women holding it up.
Right. Exactly.
And so for me, I was just like, wow, I was just like, this is the Achilles heel of your decisions right here. And you got to conquer this flight issue, because it's the thing that if you were born to fly, that's what God expects of you.
Right.
He doesn't expect you to still be in flight simulation school. He expects you to fly. And so for me, I had to come to grips with that and say, look, how long are you going to keep doing this? You got to get out of here, and you got to fly like you were born to do. You were given beautiful wings so that when you're out there, the world can see the underbelly of your wings and the many multiple colors and street avenues of talents and gifts. Not just be behind a glass wall with these people propping you up. Yeah. In the state of deceit. You get my Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Wow, that was really deep and profound. I don't even know what to say after that. That's
wow. Yeah, I got a text from Oprah. She said, be on the show and say it. Can you talk on the show and explain that?
Oh my God, dude, you're not even right. Oh my God. But what you're saying is very true. And I think a lot of us, again, especially nowadays with this quarantine, we have time to do self-examination and really begin to look at ourselves outside of everyone else that's with us. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we're living according to what everybody else thinks we should be living according to, not living free in our own life. I'm gonna say it like this. I'm not trying to get churchy. I'm not trying to get spiritual on you, but I'm just gonna put it in brass tacks for you so you really understand. The only expectation that you should be living up to is God's expectation for you.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, that's it. His expectation is the absolute only expectation that you should be living up to. And that's the truth of the matter, And I think a lot of times you can, just like you were saying about the whole Superman complex and Clark Kent. The funny thing about that is the fact that Superman was actually the public identity of Clark Kent.
Absolutely.
Clark Kent was the secret identity. And there would be no Superman without Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Because the Kents in Kansas, did not raise him to be Superman.
Wow.
They raised him to be Clark Kent.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Wow. And it's just like that. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not about what everybody else says or what everybody else does or what everybody else wants from you. It's what are you capable of?
Yeah.
What can you do? And I think here's the thing, though, to bring it back around. The fact of the matter is, because we have all of these different expectations that are coming at us 50 miles an hour, That's the reason why we sabotage a lot of these things. Absolutely. That's the reason why we sabotage some of these relationships that we're in. That's the reason why we sabotage some of these affairs and some of these business deals and whatever else that we have going on in our life, because of the fact that these are things that we know in and of ourselves. No, this is not really good for me.
Yeah.
I need to get out of this. This is not cool. This is not jiving with me. This is not working for my good. So on some level, I need to do something, blow it up,
Wow. It's like, man, this so and then sometimes you again, like, I still experience it. Like, for instance, like on some of these times when I do the shows on Monday, I'm passionate about doing them, right? But sometimes I'll wake up Monday morning and it just ain't there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel it. Like, when I'm meeting, and I don't like to kind of push and fight through it sometimes if I don't feel it organically.
Yeah.
And sometimes what I feel more than anything when I wake up is that pressure. I feel that pressure again. So for me, in order to not be on the dope of the pressure, I just don't do it. You understand what I'm saying? Because I can do it, right? I know how to say, hey, help get these wings up. Over there, you over there. But and to not do that, I have to just be organically true to myself and say, listen, you're not feeling it today, and it's okay to not do it.
Yeah.
It's okay to not, if you're not feeling it, if it's not, just forget about what's going on around you. Take the time for you and don't do it. Because ultimately, you gotta look out for your health, wealth, and your mental well-being. It's a lot of pressure out here. And so, and then when it comes to how can I say this? For me, I can say for me, it's nothing. This is a two-part question, not statement. But I'm at the brunt of it in terms of fault. But I will say this.
Okay.
I have this big thing with my intentions being misunderstood. Sometimes people can see me a certain way. They can think that because I've maybe given them a certain track record of a certain thing, that I'm not capable of the greater thing.
Right.
When I know that I am, right? But
anytime
I stop and I say to myself, well, what have you been withholding to make them not believe? You know what I'm saying? And I know sometimes, I know personally, I tend to stick too close to the side of being inward, kind of more inward, and not sharing as much. It's just I can clearly remember, like yesterday, the day I was, maybe it was just years ago, but I remember making the decision to purposely be evasive. I practiced being evasive because I was in relationships early on. Yeah. And I remember dealing with women back then that it always seemed like I was just being questioned to be in a corner, to be put in a corner, or I need you to commit to this because I need you there on Saturday. And after a while, I got used to being okay, sure. Right. After a while, I was like, look, I don't want to do it. So because I don't want to hurt your feelings, I'm going to learn the next best thing, and that is to be evasive. And so for years, I was just like, David Copperfield. Oh, I'll be there. I wasn't there, but anyway. So the point, I had to, it's not a good characteristic to learn, but in time, I had to say, listen. Sometimes you just got to say to people, I don't want to do that. I've seen you. You said you good at it. So sometimes it's either it's natural to people or it's not. And so for me, sometimes, I'll be involved in something, or maybe I was in a relationship or whatever, and I'll say, listen, I know why I have been performing this way. And the person, there's always a time where listen, women, I'm not going to beat up on you guys, but you guys don't like to hear the man's truth. But anyway,
here we go. They about to hit you. They about to hit you in the comments.
So when he gives the woman his truth, he's giving her his truth. And sometimes some men are not able to necessarily perform because there's a blockage there. And sometimes, and in most cases, that blockage is pride, unforgiveness, doubt, disbelief. And when you begin to believe your own disbelief, really it's nothing you can do with the relationship. When a person don't want to believe anymore, you just gotta let it go. When they ask the person, hey, do you still believe? If they tell you yeah, you can fight another day. But if they say no, it's just not there, you gotta let it go, regardless of what it feels like, all those things. And so sometimes, we go through these situations, but me personally, I am trying, even at the age of, hitting a milestone, not too far off into the recent near future. I am still trying to fight the animal of self-sabotage.
Okay.
Because sometimes it is convenient for us to put our own little comforter over our head and go in a corner and just keep our own self warm. You know what I'm saying? Not worried about risking the cold, so to speak. What's going on, Bruce? Here's the other thing. Being at this age that we are in, yes, can you be like some of these, like nowadays, I said before, drugs like Viagra, Cialis, and all those things, they have given the traditional, that's your grandfather, they have given him now new life. So
definitely.
It's like
he got a second chance.
That's so-and-so, that's OG. They give him all these new life names. And so now, what used to be an decline is an incline in men. And so as a result of that, you have these situations where we just out here and we can repeat madness forever until the Lord takes us home. We can continue to repeat madness, and we have drugs to assist us to do so. Wow. So we have to make a conscious decision to say, I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be the person that just dodges what's right for the sake of what's convenient.
But you know what, Charles, that would actually take that person to that would actually take for that person to actually work at themselves.
Yeah.
They need to work on themselves.
Yeah.
Realize their own faults.
Yeah.
And their own deficiencies and their own inadequacies and be able to admit these things to themselves, just like you did on tonight, talking about being evasive, and just so that you don't have to do a certain thing that somebody's expecting you to do versus or juxtapose to being honest.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Right. Because if I'm honest with you, I'm going to tell you, no, I don't feel like going to the picnic.
Wow. Right.
Let's deal with that. Let's deal with that reality and not fabricate the false reality of me going because I want to go, because no, I really don't want to go.
Wow.
Let's deal with the reality of honesty and transparency and saying, no, I don't want to go. Right. And, I'd rather do something else, and them being okay with that. But see, again, that requires that you work on you and you get yourself to the place where you can actually be honest with the other person instead of being evasive in that whole situation. Because honestly, that's a waste of time.
Yeah.
You wasting my time, you wasting your time.
Yeah, you're right.
I can't even get that time back because you didn't. Okay, all right, fine.
Take your time off. Yeah.
Right. And then here's the flip side of it. Okay, so the person that wants you to go, they should be at least understanding enough not to coerce you or try to make you go. Come on, you want them to be there, but don't you want them to want to be there?
Yeah.
But wouldn't that make more sense than you coercing them and apprehending them and arresting them and escorting them to the picnic? Why not allow them to make that free choice without your expectation on them, forcing them to do something that they don't want to do in the first place?
You never lied.
Come on, that's the truth of the matter. And sometimes what happens is because of the fact that, again, that we feel a certain way that they are expecting certain things from us, that pushes us, unfortunately, into that place of evasiveness. But again, you don't have to be evasive. Look, if I don't want to do it, I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
What you gonna do about it?
Right.
You gonna stop loving me? You gonna stop being in my life for real? For real? Oh, it's like that. Okay, well,
it wasn't like I thought, did. Yeah.
Exactly. See,
And
what's going to be a
here's another thing. Since we're talking about this self-sabotage and stuff like this, people need to understand that self-sabotage, it is selfish, right? It's selfish, but it is an individual person's choice.
Yeah, it is.
Doesn't mean I'm only saying this because today I've never heard the word narcissist thrown around as much as I do today.
Oh yeah.
I mean, every time you look at somebody's post, every broken relationship, that person was a narcissist. No,
that's the other pandemic.
Here's the truth about this whole narcissist thing. At the end of the day, it's not that the person is a narcissist. It's simply sometimes they just don't like you.
Wow.
Period. It don't have nothing to do with nobody being, or you just doesn't know. How about I just don't like you like that?
Okay.
We have to get out of this. We are specializing in the seat of the victim today. Everybody is trying to it's almost like trying to find the best hospital to go in and fake sick. The most accommodating, spoiling hospital that I can go in and just be sick. So I know they're gonna take good care of me. I heard this one got the great food. You know, everybody want to be in a good hospital when they under dramatic conditions. So today, that's what's happening. We so easily offended. You say this and this to this person, everybody wants to label you. Yeah, you know, you really got to sit down and see what a narcissist person is, and read it through and through, not just one line. It's not enough to be one line. It has to be the full totality of the meaning. We have to stop tossing around these names and calling people different things because the thing you were in with them didn't work out. Right. And that's called life, not narcissism. It's like sometimes relationships don't work out. Sometimes one person or the other made a bad decision, a premature choice, a selfish choice. That's what it is. But we have to stop calling people these names out of turn, and just be true to yourself and be honest. And look, here's the other part. Somebody needs to teach a lesson on taking the L properly. Take your L properly. Sometimes when you lose, you lose. Everybody loses at some point or another. And you got to learn, listen, this was my turn to lose. You ain't gonna win all the time. So sometimes
you shouldn't win all the time. You don't learn nothing winning all the time.
But this is the time that I'm telling you, people, it's like this, it's almost like we're in the NBA, NFL of relationships, and we have these teams, and people got their crews and groups of support groups, and you're supposed to win. And if you don't win, somebody got to be labeled something. We good. Wow. We're smart. We successful. We're educated. We're this. I'm sexual. I'm this. I give you this. Why? Guess what? Sometimes that other team was simply the better team that day, and you lost. You know? That's it.
And here's the other thing that I want to kind of draw out of that is the fact that everybody wants to win, but everybody can't win because that's not a part of life. Yeah. The reality is you learn more from your losses than you do from your victories.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because in the process of that loss, now you have to begin to examine, okay, what did I do to contribute to this loss? Yeah. What can I improve within myself so that I don't lose again? What can I do to increase my chances of success so that the next time around I'm better at what I'm doing? Wow. Because when you win, you're not thinking about learning. All you're thinking about is celebrating your win. Wow. And that's a problem. Wow. None of us want to learn how to do what we want to do or how to do what we do. We just want the victory all the time. But where's your lesson to the victory? How do you learn how to get it? That's what I'm saying.
Whole message, because period, when you hit that part about we just want to celebrate, and that's what this whole social media tirade is about. You're saying, forget about what's really going on under the real underworkings. It's just that it's time to celebrate. Come on, post, celebration, post. And it's just like, no.
What you celebrating? Yeah. So I was about to say.
And the thing of it is, we don't celebrate. Here's the thing. We don't celebrate the losses. We come on. All these different things about, that's right. I mean, it can be something even manipulative or slick or even if it is a true relationship, we want to post all these things, but we don't post that person saying, get out my house.
Right.
The relationship is over. You dumped, you whatever. I'm no longer interested in this. We don't post none of those images. Let's put all the real images about what's happening in people's lives today. And be honest,
about this?
you know?
When was the last time you saw somebody post about a relationship that failed and they took responsibility for it? Have we? I'm not saying that it's never happened. I'm just asking, when was the last time you saw somebody on Facebook or whatever social media platform that you might subscribe to get on Facebook, get on there, post what they post, and take full responsibility for the fact that the relationship failed? But we can blame everybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody else was responsible for the failure of what we did not put the time into to succeed in the first place. And again, it just like you said, it sounds to me like narcissism is really the virus of the day.
Yeah, that's really it.
Because of the fact that we're more concerned about how we look and how many likes we get and how many people shared what we posted and all of this and all of that versus actually coming away from certain situations with a better understanding of how to do it better the next time around.
Wow.
That's all I'm saying.
Wow. You're right. So I mean, that's a big thing. Like you said, to get on, if you're going to get online and own up, right?
Yeah, own your stuff.
The thing is, here's a truth that many of us we struggle with embracing. Whenever something breaks down, and if there's two people involved, there's two people to look at.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't care how it breaks down. I don't care who was wrong. I don't care if she stepped out, he stepped out, whoever. At the end of the day, sometimes it's not just that it is a repetitious characteristic of that person. Sometimes that breakdown could be a portion because of you.
Oh yeah. Good. But we got a problem with admitting that. We don't want to admit that the problem could be part of the problem lies with us.
Yeah.
Because we see ourselves as doing it perfectly. And here, watch this. This is how you know that you need to really deal with yourself on a really, really honest basis.
Yeah.
Think about the last time you told a friend of yours about a problem that you had in your relationship and the narrative that you told them. Did that narrative favor the person that you had the problem with, or did that narrative favor you? And see, a lot of times it's for us, we don't want to be honest in terms of the people who are around us, in terms of what we tell them, because we want them to buy into us.
Yeah.
And so we tell them a narrative that favors us. Right. But you need some good brothers and some good sisters that'll sit there and interrogate you and question you and really say, okay, so what? Okay, you told me what they did, but what did you do?
Right.
What was your contribution to the matter? What did you donate to the dilemma?
Right. Wow.
Let's talk about that.
Because you donated something.
You made a donation. We just don't know what that donation was.
It is. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where, like you're saying, that's where we need to look. It's just kind of like work on just owning up.
Yeah.
It's not something that we like to do. Look, there was a time. Look, I've heard it all pretty much, but there was a time where I would hear something repetitively about me, about choices I thought, the way relationships were either ending or the way certain things was imploding or happening.
Okay.
And I promise you, I would just constantly say, nah, because see, I was being, in my mind, I was acting like I was in the court of law and I was going to argue you until I got you to see you. But I was ignoring me. You know, I was concentrating on saying, no, wait a minute though, because you remember this? I'm going to tell you this time when you did this. But at the end of the day, I had to say, listen, that finger goes around. It's not just one way, it's floppy. And so, you know, we have to be honest with ourselves. And sometimes we don't like self-critique or acceptance of a flaw. Because sometimes we just have to admit, look, you are flawed.
Yeah.
Have issues in this particular area. I don't care if you are successful over there in this vein here, you don't do so well and you don't look good doing it.
Right. And here's the thing though. Okay, so you have to be able, okay, absolutely. You have to be able to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And say to yourself, okay, these are my flaws. These are my just do a list of pros and cons. These are my strengths.
Yeah.
These are my weaknesses. It's the hope and the desire that when you are in this relationship with this other person, that you actually, at least after some time has passed and you've gone along in the relationship and the relationship has grown and you kind of see where it's going, have a sit down conversation with that particular person and say to them, okay, I see where this is going. I'm liking where this is going, but I got to be honest with you. Here are some issues that I have with me.
Okay.
I remember having conversations, not just one, but a series of conversations with my wife before we got married about some of the things that I knew about me that I knew that she was going to have to deal with. Because if I did not forewarn her and let her know what she was walking into, she'd have been ambushed.
Yeah, it was some trouble. Yeah.
And a lot of times that's exactly what we do. We don't tell the other person what they're in for. And so when the other Adam or the other Charles shows up, and he shows up unannounced, they like,
wait a minute.
Who the heck is this?
I ain't signed up for this.
Right. Yeah. Because you never gave them a heads up on it. You owe it to the person that you're with. Give them a heads up on your stuff. Let them know, okay, I'm like this in the morning, or I'm like this in the afternoon, or I like this kind of thing, or I do that and I do this and I do that. It'll help mitigate and eliminate a lot of the stuff that you're dealing with. But again, you got to be honest with you and you got to be honest with them. That'll keep you from sabotaging your relationships.
Wow.
You know?
You ever seen, if you ever seen some of them old Westerns, you'll see those women in the saloons and they'll have this fitted top and it goes into
the corset.
The bottom goes on like an umbrella.
Yeah.
Well, under those dresses, where they just weren't sitting out like that. Under those were like a series of little metal crutches.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you think about how we are in relationships, what you're suggesting is the right thing. Up front, we say, I know you said you like what I got on and how things look and this, that, and the other. But come in for a second. Come a little closer. Yeah, what you want? Just wanted to show you what's really under here. Because when we proceed forward, and what's really going on is we're operating in Act 1, and then we introduce Act 2, which is the undercarriage. And we introduce Act 2, and what comes with Act 2 is the stuff we didn't realize was really there. I didn't know you were capable of this, and I didn't think that you would do and say these things. You know, when you, like you said, you should have said, you know, I have sometimes a propensity to be this way. Maybe I can be selfish. Maybe I can be, you know, I can be a little quiet, withdrawn. Whatever the case is, the element is, we need to say these things up front so that people, you know, they don't get stuck in your movie and turn it off. You know, you watch the whole thing with the great expectation, not just saying, I don't like part 2, I'm cutting it off like we're doing the things we see today. You know. Yeah.
I mean, the reality is, okay, there are going to be some things that you definitely should tell me. But then there are also, if I'm paying attention like I should be paying attention, then there are going to be some other things that I actually catch.
Wow.
That I actually see. And I go, okay, let me make a mental note of that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it should not, we shouldn't allow certain things or certain actions, especially if we've done our due diligence, we shouldn't allow these things to short circuit the relationship. You know what I'm saying? You know, if I tell you that I have a problem with a certain something, then, you know, again, I'm doing that in order to safeguard the relationship.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't want to safeguard it, then you're going to act any old kind of way and you're going to do whatever it is you want to do. And the person's going to be totally caught off guard. They're going to be like, well, you know what? I don't want to deal with you no more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're acting crazy now. You know what I'm saying? Where did this person come from? You know, because you didn't give me a heads up on this. You didn't say, hey, this is what was happening on this particular day. You know, and I think it's important that we do that type of thing, that we have conversations, we have discussions, you know, where we make a full disclosure as best as we possibly can about the things that we know about us.
Wow.
So that way the person is to some degree aware as to what they're getting into. It's nothing worse than to walk into situations and you don't have a clue as to what's going on. I hate that.
Yeah. you
don't ever send me a text talking about you want to meet with me, and then all of a sudden it's a party. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
But you know,
I'm not cool with that, man. That's not cool with me.
You know what? If we step back and you know, I saw someone was talking about. I see Danielle Smith she said, "But let me bring this back. We must see people with the eyes of God. He may not show us everything, but if we take our time and again talk it, it'll show. Like basically, give it time." But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Today we are out here. We are trying to call ourselves loving, but we're loving so fearfully. And we're out here, like you said, we kind of fact check. We want to do all of these things to kind of be like, I want love, but here's my coat tightly wound up. And at the end of the day, you know what I've thought about as I was doing my retrospective thinking again, is a lot of us are afraid of love because we are so far from it. And we so far from it because our spiritual relationships are kaput.
Okay.
Us have no spiritual connection at all. And if anybody who's, I'm not saying you got to be a holy roller, holy than thou, but there's a certain comfort that comes with a spiritual connection. When you have a spiritual connection, it's almost like a godly insurance. And that godly insurance is the buffer, the coupler. So as they do in a car, the coupler that kind of is like the buffer that kind of absorbs pain or discomfort and things like that. When it's almost like you know that he's there. You like God is there, and if God is love, as I attempt to love and emulate him, and you emulate and love like he would do. I mean, you got to just say that he got me. He got the situation. It's either I'm going to risk it and really embrace love in its totality, or I'm going to be super safe and I'm going to choke my own self out and not going to enjoy anything. I'm just going to faint because I done went overboard trying to overly protect it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No. Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. I mean, I think it's absolutely. I mean, me personally, I couldn't have did it without him. I needed him in my life in order to direct me in terms of my direction, my paths, in order to show me who I'm supposed to love. And here's the thing, though. In this, he is the example of love that I follow after.
Wow.
He is the model by which I pattern my life after in terms of how I love people in my life. Because if he loves me the way that he loves me and does me the way that he does me, then I can do no less for those who are connected to me in my life. He is the prime example of how I exhibit love, how I manifest love to those that are in my life. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I absolutely believe that you better have a connection with God. Act like you know up in here.
The craziness, the insaneness about this is that we're attempting to summon something without the creator.
I get it.
You want to summon, come on, love, summon love. You like, where is this being? Where is the basis of this? You ever try to do an argument at a college or something? The first thing they ask you is what is the fact basis of this? The foundation to your hypothesis. And so in this love situation like this, if you're trying to summon it and you're like, come on, love, and the person's going to say, look, well, what do you know about it? Are you do it, or are you just looking for a feeling? Or an emotion. You're looking for somebody. You're looking for acts of service. We get this whole love language. We worrying about the language, and we're not worrying about love himself. We worry about his language, but we don't even know how to speak it.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm this, and I think half of us don't know what you are until you place under pressure. That's what your real language is. You spews out under pressure.
Wow.
So we need to. This other stuff, anything that you can sit back and order off a menu. I'll take some acts of services and words of affirmation. Those things are not really what you really are made of.
Yeah.
What you're really made of is the things that come out in adversity.
Yeah.
Those are the things that's needed to nurture you and to get you back where you need to be. Other than that, yeah.
I mean, again, I gotta say, I mean, I can't speak for nobody else. I can only speak for me personally.
Yeah.
If how do I know how to do something that I did not know before?
Wow.
How do you know how to do that? That's like me trying to ride a bike without somebody teaching me how to ride a bike.
Right.
Now I can get on the bike and I can kind of like, figure it out. And unfortunately, here we go. This is what a lot of us are doing. We're on the bike and nobody's there to teach us how to ride the bike. You want to be in love, but you don't really know how to be in love because you're not the one who is love. So how are you gonna know how to love somebody and you haven't included love in your life?
Yeah.
Y'all not ready for this evening. Y'all not ready for this. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's real talk.
You need that example. And as much as if you came out of a nuclear family with a mom and a dad, or if you just came out of a single parent home with a mom or just a dad, there was an example of love. Hopefully there was an example of love that was there.
Right.
But even that example pales in comparison to the example of love. And again, I'm going to put it to my brothers and sisters that are listening on tonight. The reason why you can't be successful in love is because of the fact that he hasn't taught you how to love, to really love somebody. Because as much, and then again, love at first light, love is a feeling, love. Yeah. Love is all of that. Yeah. But at the end of the day, love is God.
That's what it is. That's
really God is love.
Right. That's it.
And he is the one that can show you and teach you and demonstrate to you how to love, how to love authentically, how to love genuinely, how to love with no strings attached, how to love beyond expectation, how to love and not have to have your situation or your relationship sabotaged. That's what you really want.
Beyond an exchange of some sort.
Yeah, beyond your transactions, beyond your booty calls.
Yeah. And it's just like, and it's like, again, trying to foster up this thing, trying to foster this stuff up on our own. It's just like, you're trying to grind a wheel with no grease, and all you're doing is irritating everybody within earshot of you.
Yeah,
not properly oiled, but you crying out love. But you need to get in the trenches and be close enough, spend enough time with God to the point where you can begin to hear His ways and understand how He moves. Like look, just like yourself, being raised in church and like seeing my parents together, I seen them relate. I seen them kind of in steal mode, and I saw them in love mode. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I saw my pastor and his wife in love mode, other ministers, other people in just regular families in church. And then above all of that, I've heard the word enough and being sitting under hearing the word so many years, all throughout the word, you hear several acts of love throughout the word and with God at the head of them. And so when you learn to listen to them like that, you begin to get it and you understand it and administer it. Now, sometimes we allow ourselves to get, I always say, we allow a foreign agent or two to get in and disrupt our mainframe, right? But it still doesn't destroy the fact that we have the foundation of the knowledge there. Yeah. And we have to kind of get to the point where we're executing love the precise way that we received it. And that's what we're doing. We're doing a good thing, Yeah.
Wow. You love because you know how to love.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You cook because you know how to cook. Somebody took you along and at least showed you some basic things in terms of how to cook so that you wasn't making mess. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I think, again, a lot of times we walk into relationships not really knowing how it's supposed to function or how it's supposed to work. Okay, yes, and I'll be the first to say, love at first sight, or I'm feeling in love right now. But beyond all of that, right? Beyond all of that, it love is it. How can I put this? It's not just about the good times.
Yeah.
It's not just about the honeymoon. It's not just about the quote unquote the wedding day. It's about that long suffering, long standing, determined, resilient commitment.
Yeah.
That is there every single day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a daily experience that you have with the person that you're with. Yeah. When they got stinky breath, when they look like the bomb, when their hair is standing all over their head, when they looking sexy, when they not looking sexy, that's real love right there. You know what I'm saying? And it means that it doesn't matter. All these other things don't really matter. All that matters is my level of commitment to you. That's what it's all about.
Wow. And another thing we need to understand and take seriously, that a lot of us are out here hollering about love and what we want and what we I want this, that, and the other. But at the same time, it's like love will call you out.
Love absolutely, yes.
A hypocrite out of you. And I'll tell you, me personally, I can't begin to tell you the many times I've been in relationships where love is professed. And I mean to tell you, it was professed to a point that if you didn't render due benevolence, you are losing on your gift from God. But you let enough turmoil and turbulence come in, and that love will wither right in front of your face. But real love is built to expand. It's to stretch. It's to endure. But we have this thing now where we want to love and say, "Oh, I just love you." But when trouble comes, when them troubles come, and when it gets to a point where we can no longer identify what we're calling love, that's when we want to quit. You know what? I'm done. And you understand what I'm saying? So yeah.
Or better yet, love doesn't look the way that we think it should look.
Right.
It doesn't talk the way we think it should talk. It doesn't walk the way we think it should walk. It doesn't have any of the characteristics that are appealing to us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's because we're not really familiar with authentic love.
Yeah.
We know about false love. We know about a facsimile of love. We know about artificial love.
Right.
We even know about computer love. Y'all remember that song back in the day, Computer Love? Okay, anyway, but we know about all these other things, but we don't know about the authentic love. And it's a lot of times when you get the authentic thing, when you have the genuine article, you don't know what you have because you've never seen it before. And as a result, it's not worth anything to you. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you got to really be able to identify that the real genuine article. Beyond what she looks like, beyond what he looks like, is there genuine love right here? You know what I'm saying?
Not too far beyond what they look like. But anyway, so
I mean,
I'll read a couple of these comments. Let's see. Tony Jackson says, all that matters is my level of commitment to you. Erica Ransom says, wait a minute. That's because love these days is conditional.
Yeah.
That's very true. Everyone's vision, definition, and perception of love varies. Jonah Timms, page 2.0, not real, says, sometimes you have to walk away from people when you're still in love if they're not who God sent for you. Now, here's the thing about that on tonight. How do we know the voice of God? How do you know the direction of God? Because I hear this all the time when somebody says, you know what, I'm going over here because that is not who God designed for you. Well, guess what? God didn't also design those activities that went on in that relationship when it was happening. When it's happening, we want to get in it, do all the ungodly things, but when it don't work out, he got something better for me. That is not how it works. We have to own up to our stuff while we're in it. Be honest. Don't keep on trying to stop. We have. I don't mean to pick on you, lady, but the point I'm making. We blame game 24/7, and we fail to take responsibility. A lot of times we stink. And so if we stink, God knows we stink. And so he ain't finna send you to nobody else stinking too. So before we say that's not who God has for us, or he's so and all this kind of stuff, look, God is saying, how about consulting me before you choose? Stop making me the default judge. Consult me before you choose. If you want to have a better outcome, you want your steaks to look better in the space of love, stop leaving me in the back trunk of the car while you up there kissing and dating and texting and sexting up in the front seat. Stop leaving me in the trunk. Pull me into the middle. Pray. Pull me into the middle. Speak life over the relationship. Pull me into the middle. Abstain if you can. Pull me into the middle, and covered, like be God-like. If we want to do these things, we have to be God-like. We can't keep saying these things, and I'm preaching to my own self. We say these things.
You are preaching real good right now, sir.
We are not acting God-like. We always want all the receptacles from God, but we don't want to put in the work. We want all the things to come of it. We want all the bless. That's right. Bless me indeed. Bless me coming and going. But you coming, all right, and you going to come again. Be honest, and don't try to pull. God is not a trick to come out the hat. Involve him at inception, and that's how you have a better outcome in the relationship. Not on the back end, not by default. Involve him up front. I'm speaking that into the atmosphere. But anyway,
I'm not ready for this. I was not ready for that. You may send your tithes and offering to Bishop Charles Dixon at.
You're not Rose daughter, but anyway. But yeah, man. So
Oh my God! What the heck just happened to me?
Wait a minute. Act as if they. Deborah Brown says, "What the."
Right. She's like, what is going on? I'm doing the same thing, Dan. I'm like, what the heck should happen?
As if they are a God, but it eventually comes to light. Oh. Anyway, look, nobody can appear as a God unless you posture yourself as a servant. That's how people appear as God when you lowly posture yourself as a servant. Check your posture, and you don't have to question who they are. That's all you got to do on that one. On tonight. That's it. I'm done preaching for the night. All right, y'all.
Yeah, he prophesied. He prophesied like a mother. Daniel, he is speaking up in here.
All right.
Oh my God, what done happened?
I got the mantle, and I can go ahead and preach on tonight. But no, that's it. That's right. That's right. I'm prophesying in the spirit. That's what's happening on tonight. Let's see. Often we include God after we have done all the dirt, and then it doesn't work out the way we wanted it to. Danielle says, indeed. Then let's see. That's when you walk away when you're still in love. Just saying you can love and leave. You can. But
Here we go. On tonight.
You can love and leave, but you can leave in a way that you leave clean. The problem is we wallow so much while we're in it that when we're leaving, we have so much residue. It's almost like somebody, let's just say your mom said don't go in the showroom with the furniture that you're not supposed to sit on and all that. You go in there, go to wrestling with your brother. You might have just took a nice little shower and got your pajamas on. But if you're on that rug rolling, when you get up, and you may not be able to see it, but somebody behind you going to say, you got a whole bunch of lint on you and stuff, residue from that rug. And sometimes in our process of loving and rolling, so to speak, we don't realize that we have gotten this thing behind us. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
A hit dog will holler, but he still got teeth and he will bite. But anyway,
what is going on? You know what? I'm not used to this.
Let's go. Listen, thank y'all for tuning in to Unscripted today. All right.
Which was totally unscripted, by the way.
They get me worked up because at the end of the day, this is it. We're going to go at them. This is it. Life happens. Mistakes happen.
Yeah.
People make bad misjudgments in decisions and in the people that they choose, in the length of time they dealt, whatever, whether it be infidelity, whether it just be a flat out mistake. It's life and it doesn't feel good. We don't like it or none of those things. But at the end of the day, it is a part of life and adjusting. That's why we all need to learn to specialize in adjusting. Because if you can't adjust, you'll be a person that's stuck for the rest of your life. You have to learn to adjust because hurt is going to happen. Disappointment, betrayal, these things are going to happen. But if you're not able to plant your feet and, as they say, pivot, you got to be able to pivot. This is going to have like only bar stools that turn. You need to be able to swivel. If you can't swivel, you're going to be stuck. And if a person that's stuck gets all the rain, they get all the snow, they get the mud, whatever's thrown in their direction, they get it because they cannot be flexible enough to pivot and change. And so, again, that's how we keep ourselves from being too weathered in some of these relationships. Sometimes we're coming out of these things a lot more drenched and dirty than what we need to be. We just need to be able to clean as you go. Like it's like a cook in the kitchen. And you know, sometimes you got that, you seen your mother, some people that can cook, and you'll be like, well, did you just cook in here? Because by the time they done cleaned up everything, wiped off the counter, and they're handling their relationship the right way. And when it's time to leave the kitchen, there's no mess behind. But if you're not the most tidy of lovers, when that thing is over, it is a trail of mess and crumbs of the roaches and everything else all on the floor, countertop a mess. You know how I used to do it. Stuff like that. So, you know, you just never know. You just never know. But anyway, all right, y'all. As I say always, again, thanks for tuning in to Unscripted. And let's continue to heal the world one heart at a time. Now, on Wednesday nights, every other Wednesday night, you can catch Mr. Adam 4 at what time?
At 7 p.m.
7 p.m. on his page. If you guys want to follow Mr. Adam Christopher to hear him doing his Bible study, you know, if you see him doing his Cash App, just send me a DM. I'll talk to him. But then
really, wait a minute. I don't need to be talked to. I think you need to be talked to.
I'm teasing.
You got some stuff going on, bro.
Sunday morning. What time?
Oh, Sunday I'll be on at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. So yes, we're gonna go to Mr. Ford's church on Sunday morning, y'all. Let's tune in and encourage the body and help Mr. Ford in his exploits in life and what he's. I
don't know. We might need you to come through.
I was playing. Maybe I get on there. Look, maybe I get on there and sing an opening solo before you preach.
Oh my God!
Solo or something.
I was talking about preaching, but anyway.
Look, some got to happen. I'm trying to promise you. But anyway, all right, buddy. Thanks for tuning in, Mr. Ford, and helping out. Always a pleasure, sir. And y'all, thank y'all for you know, hanging in there with us and as we act a little silly on tonight. Anyway,
Lord.
Yeah. All right. Take care. All right.
Good night, y'all.
Somebody trying to. Okay.